Howdy folks, Little John. I'm in the brewery in the middle of a brew day. I'll do a quick tasting / comparison on a brew or two. Now what I'm looking at is the Czech lager brewed just before Christmas. Now, I'm comparing two things on this. I'm comparing a keg beer versus a bottled beer, and also this beer with two different yeasts, one being the Rocky Mountain lager and one being the Copenhagen lager yeast. So, got the three beers here. Two bottle versions, quite highly carved. Had a little bit of fun getting them poured. I have got a little bit of yeast up out of the bottle in that fella, and this is the kegged version. Now these are the hell that's similar amounts of time in similar cool conditions, so it shouldn't make too much difference. I'll link up the original video. Split batch, half done with the Rocky Mountain lager, which is what the keg was. So this fella, and this is the bottle version thereof. Original gravity on the brew was 1043, 100% Pilsner malt with I did a small single decoction, all SARS at whack at 60 and another whack at 10 minutes. So the Rocky Mountain finished off at 10:11 for 4.7% alcohol in the bottle, about 4.3 in the keg, and the Copenhagen finished at 10:15. It's a little higher, so it's run out at 4.1% in the bottle. Yeah, around there. Anyway, so that's the two bottled beers. All intents and purposes, they look exactly the same. Light pale straw, as one would expect from a Czech lager. They're both well carbonated with a reasonable head. They both got that typical, Czech European lager smell, slight malt, a little bit that distinctive SARS note on the nose. That from the bottle, drinking quite nicely. Now I've done taste tests on this beer, so I'm not here to do a taste test. This is just comparing the yeast and the keg versus bottle, so if there is any real noticeable difference, particularly with the keg and bottle, and also for me to see which of these yeasts I prefer in this type of brew. And the Copenhagen obviously is closer to style than the Rocky Mountain is, but we'll see. Okay, nose is a little bit nose seems a bit cleaner on the Copenhagen. There's a touch of bubblegum on the Rocky Mountain. It's only really slight, and it wasn't really noticeable until it actually, it's only slight. That's the only real difference I can pick aroma wise. You know, the Copenhagen's more rounded. It's definitely got a little bit more body, and again with 4 points difference in the final gravity, that's to be expected. Okay, yeah, so the Rocky Mountain, it's a bit crisper. It's a tad lighter on the body, again has to be expected. The taste is very similar though. Possibly just a little more of the hop flavour in the Copenhagen. Both quite nice in their own right. I could be hard pressed actually say to pick a favourite. That could possibly depend a bit on the day. I think on a really hot stinking day you're going to want that something a little bit crisper. Yeah, that's still very drinkable and is much closer to the Czech style. The Czech style is more rounded, it's not as snappy. But yeah, both very nice. Yeah. Big taste tester is the difference with the keg beer. Yeah. There seems to be a difference in the colour, but I think it's more a clarity issue. The keg was much clearer, but there does seem to be a shade or two difference in the colour. But again, I think that's just simply clearing and a little bit of difference with the yeast. So how does it compare taste wise? Okay, that's really interesting. The keg, for me, seems to sit between these two. Oh man, there. That's very bloody similar. The bottled beer is slightly thinner in the mouthfeel. It's just it's a slight more snappiness. A little bit more bite than that, but the keg, coming off the keg, it's not as rounded as the Copenhagen, so it's leaning more towards the traditional roundness and softer edges of the Czech lager than what this bottled version is. It's almost creamier off the keg. It's a smoother mouthfeel, but yeah, it's very slight. It's not a lot. It's holding a nicer lace off the keg. Now this is a bit less carbonated as well, which would possibly contribute to the bottle beer being that just a touch snappier, but that fella's also quite creamy around it, and it's bottle carbonated as well, so that's not the only reason there. So for me, I think the Rocky Mountain wins yeast wise. Oh, it's bloody. Both yeast have made a really good beer. Happy with both. Yeah, they're different. That's a little bit smoother, a bit rounder, a bit more snappy, a bit more hot bite. I'm not going to declare a winner. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. They produce slightly different beers, and so they should. And the reality is, those beers really are exactly what you'd expect from those yeast. Traditional Czech style, more American Pilsner style. As for keg versus bottle, to tell the truth, I'd probably go with the bottle. But again, it's only because that just that slight little bit more, a bit snappier. Certainly nothing wrong with that. Then I think just that little bit of a extra addition of the carb, which has interacted with that beer, it's just pulled it into a slightly different place. It's funny because to a degree that tastes like the beer with less alcohol, which it's not, but that's that contribution from the priming, which I think would have been carb drops. It does make sharp. Yeah, carb drop. So again, I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but there is a slight difference between the two. Yeah, and that's really going to come down to personal preference, to which one you'd prefer. In a nutshell, smoother, snappier. The Copenhagen just all rounded. You're after a traditional Czech style lager in the veins of a Bud Bar, that sort of thing. Definitely the Copenhagen yeast does the job. You're after something a bit snappier, a bit crisper, go the Rocky Mountain. Certainly worked on this, and definitely would work on American styles and things like that. It's Canadian. That's a little bit cleaner. And bottling or kegging, personal preference. You're bottling. If you're kegging, you're kegging. I don't think anyone's making a decision on bottling or kegging simply over that little bit of difference in the beer. So anyway, that's me done. Got to get back on with brew day. So if you got any questions or comments on the beer, the yeast, anything like that, stick them down the bottom. Go ahead, ask away. If you haven't subscribed to Little John, hit the button down there in the corner, come along for the ride, get notified when there's new videos coming, whether it's tasting or brew days or ramblings at 5 on Friday. If you're not a patron, you're interested in helping out little John or contributing a little bit or making sure you get those little bit extras that come along with it, jump on the link down the bottom to Patreon, have a look, see what you get for it. The guys that are patrons, as always, cheers. Thanks for having you on board. But right now, that's me, little John. Done. Kegs versus bottles, bottles versus keg, yeast versus yeast, doesn't really matter, it's all beer. So until I see you again, we're brewing beer, talking beer, or drinking beer, good brewing.